Hello!
Hello, hello.
How are we on this Monday? I had to check
It
what
is,
day it
in
was.
fact, a Monday. Yeah. It's your birthday.
It is my birthday! It is my
It's very
birthday.
exciting.
Hey Yuffie, hey Amanda, hey Moni.
I'm just getting my, screens sorted out here. Even though we practiced a lot of button pushing, I'm,
She, her,
not
Les.
quite there yet.
We're gonna party like it's your birthday. Gonna sip Bacardi like it's your birthday. We don't give a fuck 'cause it's your birthday.
So it is Liz's birthday, and I'm really excited about that. It's also our first episode, so that's exciting. We appreciate everyone who popped by 2 weeks ago for episode 0, and this one's gonna have actual content.
Potentially.
Potentially. Also want to start by just saying I'm sorry to everyone because the 3 kittens have really become nuisances in the last 24 hours. So they're everywhere all the time and into everything, and they chew on all the equipment, and they this is maybe not what I should say, but I'm going to say it anyway. This isn't we haven't officially started the episode yet.
Haven't we?
I've got this big, long, fat... Well, I thought we were going to do our fancy intro.
Oh! I better find out where we wrote that down.
We didn't.
Yeah, but it's actually... Carry on with the story while I find out where you wrote the paragraph down.
So, so I have this big, long fabric tube for them to play with, and it gets put away most of the time because we actually call it the crack pipe because it makes them so strung out. And I debated whether I should have the crack pipe out during the show. And so it's out, and we'll see, because it makes them so hyperactive.
Wait,
they're
you left the crack pipe out?
Yeah, because I didn't have time to put it away. There's 2 of them right now playing. That's Marshmallow, the white one, and the one with more gray is Toast. And then I think Peanut Butter's still napping. Marshmallow is like really, really high energy. So toast and peanut butter nap alternately and hang out with keep Marshmallow company.
Family
So yeah.
in the club, bottle full of bud.
So they're like hanging out. They tried to eat my lunch with me. They've been chewing on stuff. Oh, there goes one with a little mouse. And yeah, they're sweethearts. They're absolutely sweethearts, and we're getting them ready. And like little life update for me, I've agreed to be the Christmas time foster for the shelter, so I'm going to be on call from the 23rd till New Year's, basically. And so any kitten that comes in is going to come live with me, because it's going to be reduced staff and stuff like that. And also a lot of the fosters like have family over or are going away or things like that. So I'm going to be the holiday home. And I'm excited about that, and also a little nervous about like just how many like conflicting personalities I might have for that week. So I think I need to order some more happy pheromone spray.
Maybe you should
like
stay at
on.
the shelter.
But the whole reason why the kittens don't live at the shelter is so they can get socialized into living in a home with people, right? It's different for the big cats that are there because they just like have a chance to like be cats, whereas like the kittens, they need so much socialization, and at this point it's basically the difference between like a cat getting socialized right now is the difference between them being a totally adoptable house cat and being semi-feral for the rest of their lives. So who knows? I could have 0 cats. I could have upwards of 15. I am there's like a rule in my town about how many cats someone can have, and I have a license to have up to 7 longer term as a foster, and I have short-term emergency foster of up to 15. So that's what my fostering license says, so that I can like bypass the rule, because in my town you're only allowed to have 3 cats to try to like get away from like animal hoarding and stuff. So I have an exemption because I'm a foster, and so I could have up to 15 over the holidays, which is like wild, right? But Amanda, honestly, so Amanda says rip your furniture. Honestly, the best thing I did is when I decided I was moving to the UK, I decided to foster cats, and they just like make it really easy for me to determine that I don't care about my stuff anymore. Like, okay, like you broke my lamp, that's fine, I was giving it away in 4 weeks anyway, kind of thing. So like it's really a nice way to like beat my shit into oblivion and trash it. You learn really quick about what stuff you care about.
You're funny.
Positive silver linings.
True that.
Do we have an intro?
I can't find what I'm referring to. Let me pop something in chat. In our chat. Talk amongst yourselves, team. Oh, thank you. It's my favourite thing in the world. Gemma got it for me. It's Keith Haring, the artiste and queer fucking icon and HIV activist. And then on the back.
Are you plugged in?
No.
Okay.
Can you see?
So Keith Haring does a lot of... I have a pair of Keith Haring earrings right here that Liz got me. Keith Haring is famous for, 1, his dog. And 2, they're called the Dancers.
Maybe I should be plugged in though.
And they're these little dancing people line art. And he was an early HIV activist. We'll definitely have an episode about him. He was an early HIV activist and pause person, died before ARVs were introduced in the mid-1990s, which really changed HIV. And he knew he was dying, and he was really like prominent in talking about it. And before he died, he set up a foundation, which actually takes in, like, it licensed out his artwork. So like a lot of this stuff, like Liz's hoodie, is actually like officially licensed Keith Haring Foundation stuff, and the money goes partially to children's charities and partially to HIV work. And so it's actually like his like enduring legacy is like when you buy, and like so many people do like official licensing with him. So that was an hoodie that was actually bought at
Typo.
oh, pardon?
Typo.
Typo, right. And there's like a temporary tattoo company out of Toronto that's really popular now called Inkbox. And they did like an official collab with him and stuff like that. So, like, when you're buying this stuff, you're helping the foundation, which is like gets all of the royalties from his artwork. And so it's like this enduring legacy thing that he set up while he was alive. Like, that was his foresight.
But
So it's really awesome.
I must admit, I don't know as much as I should about like him. But one of the reasons why I'm very into his work is one, because it's fucking cool, but two, because of the activism and stuff. And if there's any Brits in the chat, you might know the NHS Change for Life campaign. The dancers, like the animations from that campaign, are based on Keith Haring artwork as well. So if you don't know who he is and you remember those adverts, then you might recognise the figures or understand the inspiration behind them.
And Keith Haring is like something that Liz and I bonded over early on. So like early on I showed her like my Zoom background. So when I'm not showing off my place, I've got like this really, really queer Zoom background that has like a bunch of HIV activism in it. And like one of them is the pink triangle that is like silence equals death. And one of them is Keith Haring's dog. And so I was showing her those things, and she was like, Keith Haring. And I was like, wait, you know who Keith Haring is? Because I have never met anyone outside of like AIDS service organization world who like really liked his art and knew
Anyone
it.
in the wild.
Like, yeah, like it found one in the wild. So it was like finding a shiny in the wild.
Oh, check you and your topical pop culture knowledge.
Look at me paying attention.
Look at you. I'm just going to turn my lights down a little bit more. I feel like I'm really just very washed out today.
You're washed out. I'm translucent.
Yeah, but that's usual.
But yeah, so I just really want to like apologize again about the kittens because they're really full on today, and I'm sorry.
That's where that we've been on a journey. It started with you apologizing for the kittens. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and then someone remarked on your hoodie, and we had to talk about it.
It is going back to the original. At that point, it is very nice and fuzzy and warm.
I just want to go back to chat for a minute and say, Mofo, amigurumi crochet. At first, I struggled with it a lot. It's now my primary mode of crochet a lot of times. But I started with blankets because I didn't want seams. I didn't want tight little stitches. I didn't want any of that stuff. So I feel you.
Now she's a pro.
And that's a Grogu that I made Liz.
Now she's a pro.
Not sure I'm a pro. But I'm okay at designing stuff. There may or may not be someone who's getting a designed thing fairly soon.
It's me. Spoiler alert.
It's not you.
Right.
Are we ready to get going?
Should we crack on? Yeah.
Do you want me to do the intro? Do you want to do the intro?
I thought we were... Thanks, Jigs! I thought we were splitting it up.
Are we?
Well, it's going to go terribly. We might have to do it a few times, but... Also, please let me know about the audio as well, because I don't know how to stream. It's only been 2 years.
And I don't know how to stream because I don't. So, here we are. Are we ready? Am I starting?
Yeah, because you've got to do the really hot hello.
Hello, hello.
Which I may or may not. I did. Oh, was may or may not have been practicing it. Maybe tone down the sex.
I don't know how to do that. That's not something I know how to do. I was actually thinking last night about how like my natural mode of being in the world is to flirt, and I'm trying really hard to not do that because I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable, but I'm naturally like, hey gorgeous, and like people are like, I just flirt. I'm sorry. Yeah, see, there we go. Thanks, Liz. Thanks, Monty. We just need Liz to tone down the arousal, and then, like, we can't blame me for how you respond. Look at the face.
This is the face shape that happens before it turns purple.
Also, on one of Liz's streams, she recently called me her fairy godmother / sexual partner, and I just have not been able to, like, forget that. Like, it's just very, like, Gemma's my fairy godmother / sexual partner.
Tell me it's not a fantastic description, though.
I mean, it is a great description. I want it on a mug.
It's happening.
Okay.
Maybe, I mean, I was trying to get it there for Christmas, but maybe not.
Don't worry about it. And also, I don't need anything here. Please do not send things here. I need to ship everything I own across the ocean.
Yeah, that's true. I'll get it sent here then.
Yeah.
Which gives me more time to make it.
Yes. Hello, hello. You are watching Whack, a talk show centered around the beauty of queerness,
the challenges it brings,
with host pansexual princess Get Lizzie with it,
and the Suffolk sensation Games Mistress.
Thanks for being here, everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Today we are, in fact, talking about Home for the Holigays, is what we've called this. So it's about the festive season and being queer. Which is like a whole thing, right? Like, it's a whole multifaceted thing.
A whole thing.
And it would be last Christmas that was your first Christmas out with a female partner and all of that, huh, Liz?
Well, first Christmas out.
Yeah.
Let alone with a female partner. Yeah.
With a same-sex partner.
Yeah. It was, and it was, well, it was brilliant because you were here. But no, it just didn't feel very different, like, to any other Christmases.
I mean, I think to put that into context, we did spend the Christmas with just the two of us.
Yes, that's true, yeah. But I was just going to say, what probably, like, the strangest thing is, like, seeing Christmas cards addressed to the two of us, which that isn't a new thing. Like, I've had Christmas cards addressed to me and, you know, ex-boyfriends, but they've all been boyfriends. So I didn't know, like, my mum's friends will always send each of us a Christmas card. And I was kind of like, oh, is it just going to be my name on it? Is it going, like, is Gemma's name going to be on it too? I have received one so far, which have both of our names on it. So I'm calling that a success.
Yeah. Yeah, we are Liz and Gemma to, like, your family for sure.
And I get full named, don't forget.
Oh, yeah. But I try not to full name you unless I'm, like, telling you off.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah. So, not that different, but again, as you say, we were in a nice little festive bubble. Last year. It was lovely.
So I think, like, one of the things I want to start with is, like, maybe the challenges of being queer during the holidays, because I think that there's a lot of pressure for, like, Christmas to be picture perfect and the holidays to be picture perfect. And, well, I obviously don't believe that there's anything not picture perfect about being queer. It is a problem for lots of people still. And it's also a time where, like, we celebrate the holidays by getting together sometimes with people that we don't see any other time of the year, that we don't have, you know, relationships with, that we basically live our lives really separate from in a lot of practical ways. And then you're tossed into this pressure cooker of, we're going to spend 3 days together with all of these people and all of this pressure. And also it's going to be like, everyone has the pressure of making it like a really good Christmas. This idea of, like, ruining the holidays is like a real one. Like, people get really worked up about how like this thing isn't right, so the holidays are ruined. This thing isn't right, so the holidays are ruined. And it also can be like a really performative time in some ways, right? Like one of the things I notice, now this is pre-pandemic, but I think is relevant, is that like my church hosts a Christmas Eve. So we host like a bunch of different things throughout the holidays because we're multi-faith. And so we host something for Hanukkah.
Yeah.
We always host something for the winter solstice. And we also host a Christmas Eve candlelight ceremony. And what we host for Hanukkah, we host in conjunction with the synagogue that we are in.
Mm-hmm.
And then we host something for usually December 21st, whenever the solstice is, and then also Christmas Eve. And I will say that one of the things that like is wild to me is that on like the average Sunday, there's 60 of us sitting there. And then Christmas Eve happens and we have to open the balcony.
Yeah.
Like literally, like it doubles the amount of people that are at the service. That's great. I'm glad that they're there. But if like the context there is like mom hasn't been to church in a year and she's going to church and she's bringing her queer kid and her queer kid's partner.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it can be really noticeable for the kid themselves if your queerness is like, I don't say just your sexuality, but if your queerness isn't sexuality, it might not be visually remarkable. But
Yeah.
if you're trans, there can be like real visual changes that have happened over a year potentially. Like, so it's also this thing where not only are you in this pressure cooker with your family, it's also like, we've got to go to church. We've got to like do the Christmas pageant. We've got to do whatever, right? And so it's also this thing where you're like thrust into public with your family.
And not
depending
even
on
to
the
mention
situation.
like that these things can be quite, you know, triggering or uncomfortable for queer people, like because you know it's quite easy to forget sometimes that they are religious holidays which have their own challenges.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes like Christmas itself can be like the holidays can be a trigger themselves, right? Like there's like history where like you haven't fit in a few times and things like that, so it can be really challenging.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that like there's sort of two scenarios here. One is you're around your family a lot and there's challenging stuff happening, or two, you're going home for the holidays and there's like new stuff or like stuff that you don't have to deal with on the regular. And I think in the first case, like one of the things that is important is that like it is like if you find yourself clashing with your family a lot about stuff, it's okay to not be the hero. And by that I mean you don't need to have every fight. So what I'm not saying is toss yourself aside and let everyone trample all over you.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying is like if your Uncle Fred hates gay people, you're not changing his mind.
Yeah.
And I recognize that what we talk about is how like you're not changing his mind, but your little cousins might be listening. True. Also, you do not have to sacrifice your own mental health for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Not for anyone.
Preach.
Like, especially during the holidays, because there is enough stress going on. You have permission to survive.
Yeah. It's difficult though, isn't it? Especially like, you know, especially if you are the squeaky wheel.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard. Like, it's hard. It's hard to not say something. Sometimes it's hard because sometimes it feels like you're not like living to your values, which is another battle in itself, isn't it?
And absolutely.
Yeah.
And like I think that it's also like so much pressure, like we swing the pendulum so far, and sometimes I think we swing it to like every individual action matters, everything you do matters, and I agree with that. But we are not measured by simply an individual action without context.
Yeah,
Context
absolutely.
always matters. So when we talk about individual actions mattering, the context to those matter too. And let me tell you, yes, you know what? Little Billy, who hears you talk to Uncle Fred about gay people, may very well benefit from that in that moment. But if what you need is to get through that moment so that you can continue to be a family member with enough relationship with the family that when Billy needs you, you can be there.
Yeah. And I
You
think.
don't,
Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, there can be a giant explosion where you never go back for the holidays and Billy misses out on a
Peace out,
relationship with
Billy.
you
Yeah.
entirely. Or you can continue to just be you, survive in those situations, and pick your battles.
Yeah. Yeah. What I was gonna say is maybe, yeah, okay, it might feel uncomfortable to hear these things and not do anything, not say anything, but also sometimes you got to think about the long game, right? Like, exactly like you say, you need to, and if you are trying your best, spoons and energy, dependent, of course, but if you are trying your best to live those values the rest of the time, most of the time, when you've got the energy to do so, that's going to be doing more good than, you know, you having a fight with Uncle Fred, I guess.
Yep.
So.
And I think that there's also ways where you can you can state something and choose not to engage. So like Uncle Fred says something and you say, I don't appreciate using language like that, but I also know I'm not going to change your mind.
Yeah.
And that's a way to like put up that barrier, and he might fight then, but you've said your thing, and you've also said it in such a way that if he wants to keep going, it's entirely on him.
Yeah.
You're not trying to change anything. Billy has heard that. So like just simply stating your belief and putting up that boundary and not letting it be crossed again, saying like, I'm not comfortable having this conversation with you. Especially if you say things like, I often have these conversations and I'm not comfortable having it with you. Said little family member hears that too.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's putting up that boundary. It's still making a stance, but it's saying like, this ain't it. This ain't happening today. We're going to eat some turkey. We're going to eat some ham. We're going to, watch whatever cartoon. We're going to do that. And that's that. And
Yeah.
there's like, and I also think that small things can really matter in ways that are like coded to the queer community around safety that might not be picked up by other people. So like, are we decorating cookies together? And did I give mine a pink, blue, and white jumper? Because I don't think Grandma June is going to notice, or if she does, good for her. But there's less of a chance. But trans cousin, who everyone's online these days, right? Like everyone who's that age who like is around will recognize those colors. There's ways to like do stuff where you can be making statements that aren't about turning, Hanukkah into 7 days of fighting about queer rights.
Yeah. Very true. And now I kind of want to like leave pride hats around for people to find and wear and fucking spread the agenda.
One of the things that we do here, and I haven't done as much this year, but I plan to do next year there, is leave red scarves around for World AIDS Day for people to pick. And I do mine with pride panels in them. So there's like bi pride, trans pride, progress pride, like that sort of stuff. And
Cute.
so
I knew about the scarves. I didn't know about the panels. Like, they sound cute.
So I'll drop some pictures in the Discord, but like it's like a little bit of an added touch for sure to these red scarves, but there's ways to do that. I also think that like it's like going back to the like permission to survive thing, like yes, we are role models to the people in our lives, and yes, that is important. But I also think it's important to be a role model in taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's a lesson too, right? That's a lesson in not letting the bigots get you down, all of that. And like the way I always think of it is put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yes, I saw that analogy in the notes and loved it.
And so if you're in a situation where you want to help other people, take care of yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Ah, you
Don't
beat me
set
to
yourself,
it. That's what I was going to say.
don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. There's all of these things that you can tell yourself that's really important.
Yeah.
And I know that in so many of these moments, it feels like make or break moments. Like I know that feeling deeply. And I know that there's a good chance that when you walk away, you are going to beat yourself up
Yeah.
for not saying the thing, or you could have said a different thing. You could have acted a different way.
Oh, yeah, been there.
And let me tell you, it is never too late to keep trying. There will be more opportunities in the future. There will be, especially if you're keeping your own oxygen mask on so that there is a future there.
Mm-hmm.
There will be more opportunities. There will be more chances to do things. At no point is this the last moment. And I think it's really important to remember that what we're doing is building a collection of resistance. And the strongest fabric is woven from many, many, many tiny threads.
Ugh.
And so hold that. Those tiny threads matter. You will always have time to work on that tapestry, and it will get stronger and stronger over time. You're not going to build it overnight.
Thank you. Like, I know, like, it's something that I need to endeavour to remember myself. Like, maybe I'll play this back while I'm at home for the holidays. But like, it's, yeah, I've been there. Like, and when I say that Christmas hasn't been that different since coming out, it's because I've always been the weird one at home. Like, I'm nothing like the rest of my family. You know, I'm very much, as I've already mentioned, the squeaky wheel. So if you don't know the analogy of the squeaky wheel, it's basically you are the person that squeaks. Something's not right. You say something about it, and you become that annoying, constant noise. You know, and it's something that I struggle with a lot, because it's always, oh, you're so negative, or you've always got something to say, you've always got this, you've always got that. And I think it's something that I need to remember, that it's okay. It's okay to walk away. But the example that you gave for me, there are small people in my life. Like, there are young people in my life, and I'm trying to set an example, and I'm trying to make sure that they don't fall into I won't say fall into traps, that they don't get pigeonholed because of the opinions that they hear constantly. And so I'm trying to be that person, but I don't know if I've got the energy for it. I think it's important to use the tactics that you mentioned and state a boundary, but I think it's important to remember to mention why that boundary is there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't agree with you, but this is why I'm not discussing that with you, because I don't agree. I'm not discussing that with you because of X, Y, Z. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, that's probably that's going to be very valuable for me, I think.
I mean, if you really want to be a lightning rod who also isn't engaging, you can simply say, I'm allowing you to be wrong.
Ooh. Mm-mm. Damn.
And like, I think you can just leave it there, right? Like,
cross-stitch that shit.
And I think that that's like true. Like, I think the thing I want to go back to is that there's sometimes these like images that are meant, and I mean like visuals on the internet, that are meant to be really empowering, and they are, but they can also feel like pressure. And what I mean is visions, like visuals of like trans elders taking all of the arrows to the back to protect the trans youth beside them.
Yeah.
Of people holding back tides individually to protect a crowd of children. And it's true, it can feel that way, but that's not the goal. So I think what we're looking at are moments of exceptional individual action that are exceptional. It cannot be the everyday, because it doesn't matter how strong you are, the tide is stronger. What the tide isn't stronger than is the dam built by a queer community.
Yes.
And so when we talk about it takes a village to raise a child, yes, we're talking about women not bearing that individually. We're talking about the lessons that everyone can teach. But what it also means is that there is a queer community, and hopefully, as queer people, you can find that community too, to draw strength from, to be examples with. And like, if you want to be an influence on a child, it also takes a community that way as well. We are not meant to do any of this alone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The only things we do alone are the like passage into this world and the passage out of this world. And in most cases, we hope both. We are surrounded by love
Yeah.
of other people, right? So like everything else is meant for collective action. And so the moment you feel like you are sitting alone in a room and everything depends on you, you can do that for 10 minutes. That is not a feasible state of humanity, queer or not.
Yeah. And I think,
And
like,
so,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, going back to, like, the analogy of putting your oxygen mask on first, not to, apparently this has become airline safety announcement, but you kind of just it reminded me then, like, your life jacket, you know, that is to keep you afloat for a short amount of time. Like, that's not going to sustain you. That's not going to keep you safe while you float in the sea indefinitely. And I think, like, Jinx in the chat has just summed it up really well as well. Like, it helps you realise that you cannot fix things that are so much larger than you, but living authentically sends a huge message all by itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that it's also, like, I think that there's challenges too when it comes to, like, if you're going back to your family for the holidays and they don't know you're out, you don't need to come out for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And things like that, like, you don't need to, like, if you want to come out for the holidays, please do your thing. You don't need to come out for the holidays. You don't need to come out to live authentically. You don't need to come out to do any of those things. You come out when you're ready, because that's a statement about you.
Mm-hmm.
And if it means that you have to, like, live under the radar to survive with your family, that is okay.
Well, yeah, the priority is being safe.
Yes. And safety means a lot of things. Safety doesn't just mean I can't get kicked out. Safety can mean emotional safety.
Oh yeah, so much more than just the physical.
Safety.
Yeah.
And so, like, I just really, like, I don't have the authority to give anyone permission to do anything, but I do want to say that if you're looking for it, you have it. You have permission to lay low over the holidays. You have permission to opt out of conversations that aren't suiting you. You have permission to walk away. You have permission to disengage, and you have permission to put your holiday experience into a box and say, that's what the holidays look like for my family,
Mm-hmm.
or for this group of people, and I'm going to make my own holiday.
Hell yeah.
And I think that that is one of the things that I want to suggest to everyone, is that if you have trauma with the holidays, and so many of us do, you can do something different. And that you might not be able to skip Christmas Eve with your family. Okay. But December 27th, you can do it all over again with people that you love.
Yeah.
You can do that, right? And, like, so for years, as an example, I really have, like, battled over the years to hold on to family traditions while not holding on to my family. And so what does that mean? What does it mean to want to make the same thing that people who abused me cooked for their meals and things like that? And part of it has been actually deciding what I like in the tradition, because then I own it and then it's mine
It's
and I've
yours, yeah.
reclaimed it. And the parts I don't like, I don't do. So like maybe this is like not like the best thing in terms of moving to the UK. I don't really like meat pie. It's not my thing. And it might just be that French Canadian pastry is a whole
I
friggin'
was just
journey,
gonna
let me tell
say,
you.
at the risk of sounding like some fucking white cishet bro dude, you just haven't had the right pie.
I mean, the right pie is like I just think that maybe tortillere is not for me, which is French Canadian meat pie. Um, and that's okay. That's okay. I make lasagna because it's kind of a meat pie. Um, and it's a version. And it feels good. I like it. Um, and sorry, chat. I love all of you. Um, and so that is what it is, right? Um, we really need to cross stitch that because Liz and I have been saying it a lot as our way of coping with things. It is what it is.
It is what it is. In fact, I've got a cross stitch lined up. Anyway, beside the point.
So reclaim what you want to claim. Hold what you want to hold. You don't need to keep anything that doesn't serve you, and that includes holiday traditions, because just about every holiday tradition has been mangled along the way anyway, even for
what's tradition anymore,
right? Like, and I don't mean mangled as in like made worse. I just mean changed, shift. Everything evolves. You are allowed to evolve your traditions for you. You have that permission. And so, like, for instance, Liz and I are not going to be together for the holidays in person this year, which sucks. But also, we're doing holidays when we're doing full-blown Christmas when she's here in February.
Yeah.
I'm like stockpiling Christmas candies and stuff that will be good for the next 50 days. I already got like a gingerbread house kit in the pantry waiting for her. I'm not putting up the tree, in part because Lord knows how many foster kittens I'm gonna have, but not putting up the tree until Liz is here. We're gonna put up the tree. We're gonna listen to Christmas carols.
Oh, we could do the
goofy
half tree where you just do the baubles on the top half.
I mean, you're gonna have to deal with a pink Christmas tree, love.
It's true. I'm also gonna have to put the baubles on if it's top half only, because someone ain't gonna be able to reach.
It's true. It's only 3 feet tall and I still struggle. But we're doing like the whole thing. Christmas movies, like pajamas, the whole thing. We are doing like proper Christmas Eve reading of the Grinch, the whole thing. Like, it is happening.
Maybe we can read what's it called? Mangoes and
Mistletoe. Yeah, we'll talk about that book in just a minute.
Yeah.
Yes, True Love is putting up with a pink tree. That, like, welcome to like being stuck with me for a lifetime.
I'm down for a pink tree. What she doesn't know. Oh wait, hang on. We'll have to do Christmas as soon as I get there, because then I want it to be a Valentine's Day tree, a Valentine's tree. We'll make some cutesy love heart decorations for it and stuff. Anyway.
Okay, I'm down. So anyway, we're doing like full blown Christmas when Liz is here.
Christmas
because we can, and because Christmas is a celebration of lots of things, but also like in a very practical way. Christmas time snow is hit or miss in my part of the world, but let me tell you, we are going to have feet of it in February. And so
it's going to be a white Christmas. I'm very ready. I'm very, very ready.
So yeah, so I'm excited about that. And like, just do your own thing. That's what Friendsgiving is about. That's what, doing Christmas when you want to. That's what all of that's about. And so I really just want to encourage people to like find ways to get through the holidays in one piece. Once you have done that, find ways to find joy.
Yes.
We survive. Joy and hope are not luxuries, they are essentials.
Yeah.
Without joy and hope, humanity fails to like find purpose in continuing on. And so survive, find the things that give you joy, find the things that give you hope. And then everything else in like Maslow's hierarchy of needs goes from there, right? Winning political battles, getting your version of traditions, getting them to stop saying Merry Christmas. What other thing is
Self-actualization.
Whatever's important to you, we move up. But first, be safe, then be hopeful and find some joy. And from there, that's all in you. Then we look at, you know, helping others and things like that. Do you have any other like tips, tricks, things you want to share before we talk about cozy Christmas holiday media?
No, not really. I think we covered it. Just to reiterate that whole, well, I was going to say whole analogy, multiple analogies of like looking after yourself. And I know how it feels to know that you are a role model for someone, and you need to just remember that actually you're doing most of your role model duties the rest of the time, and that you need to make sure that you're looking after yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just truly feel like a lot of people will say that, like, you know, there's a single moment where you make a choice. And I agree that those things can sometimes happen, but the only way you're set up to make good choices is to make good choices, small choices, all along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And the holidays don't need to be your big hero moment, I promise.
Nope, tiny changes. And that's what life is about, right?
Mm-hmm.
One step at a time, tiny changes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, should we talk about getting cozy?
Yeah.
Cozy for Christmas.
Some queer Holiday media that we want to talk about. Did we maybe want to start talking about oh my goodness, the Mangoes and Mistletoe?
Yes. So, I just mentioned Mangoes and Mistletoe, which is a book that we read last year.
And it's by Adriana Herrera. It's a novella.
It's cheesy and festive and gay, and I loved it. And I think I don't know, maybe I'll read it again.
So I foist this upon everyone because it is sapphic and it is a novella. So it's like, I don't actually remember how many like pages it is, but it's short. It's like 100 and whatever pages. And it's cute and it's easy to digest. And it's also like, it's both like romantic comedy, kind of like lesbian sapphic romance. I don't want to say lesbian because it's not necessarily lesbian, sapphic romance. But it does have a bit of like reality to it. And it also treads between like cutesy while also being like a little bit steamy. Like
a little bit naughty.
There's some sex in it. And so it's called Mangoes and Mistletoe by Adriana Herrera. And we'll drop a link to it. Actually, let me pull that up maybe while Liz... do you want to give the synopsis, Liz, or do you want me to?
So it's very baking show, like holiday baking show competition, and it's set in Scotland in the winter, so lots of cutesy, snowy. I don't know. I don't want to give it away.
So, I mean, basically the premise is it is like a version of the Great British Baking Show or the Great British Bake Off, but holiday, and there's some queer women in it. And
okay.
It is...
You didn't say much more than me. I was like, how do I describe... Okay, you're carrying on.
Yeah. That's, I mean, I think, and so I'm dropping the dropping the Goodreads link in, and then I prefer to drop Goodreads links just because rather than dropping to a site where you can buy it, because you can find it from there however you want, library, whatever, as opposed to like giving Amazon the free click. Even if Amazon and Goodreads are now. But I do like that it has like Hispanics representation in it, that it's not just like white characters. There's queerness in it, and it's basically like a combo of like, if you love like sapphic stuff or queer stuff, this is for you. If you have like a soft spot for like quasi reality TV, especially like competition TV, like food shows, which there's like, I mean, basically that's all the Food Network is anymore. Like there's a whole genre of that. You'll love this. It's a quick read. It's snappy.
Yeah, I liked it because it was like because it was sapphic. And obviously, I say obviously, I haven't had a lot of that in the past. So it was nice that it had a femme focus, but there was also other queer characters in it as well, which was nice. It felt, it didn't feel tokenistic sort of thing. It wasn't like shoehorned in. It felt very, very well-rounded.
And it's written by an author who is in herself, like she's Caribbean, and so comes from that background as well. And so it's a very like own voices representation of like women of color during the holidays, which I really appreciate and think is beautiful. And because it's short, like Deb says in chat here, only 126 pages, you get like a good story without it being like too much, like in like, it's not too heavy, it's not too sappy, it's not too like, because it's so short, it doesn't have a chance to be heavy, either sugar sweet or salt, or like,
I guess that helps with the festive thing too, right? Like, it's not too many candy canes and cookies. Or maybe there was. It's a baking show. I don't know. Maybe you should read it.
Yeah. So really suggest that one if you're looking for something quick. There's one that I'm reading right now that is called Kiss Her Once for Me, and it's by Alison Cochrane. And Alison Cochrane is a romance writer. And so I think, like, to back up for a minute, today we're talking a lot about romances during the holidays, not because there's not many versions of holiday stories, but because I think that the queer joy part, like, this is about queer joy representation during the holidays, which isn't just about romance, but is about like one of the things that's great about mistletoe, mangoes and mistletoe mangoes, now I've got it backwards in my head, mangoes and mistletoe, is that there's also friendships that develop and stuff. So like, it's like queer community as well, because it's not just romance that is that makes us that is valid as queer joy, just to say. But I do love romance. It's one of my favorite things. And so I'm reading a book called Kiss Her Once for Me by Alison Cochrane. And it's basically a meet cute where two women meet. And then there's again, it's hard to not, like, I don't want to give away too much, but basically the premise of the book is that a woman ends up in a marriage of convenience with a man, where they both know that that's what they're doing. And it's in part, there's like reasons on both sides to make this, or ends up in a relationship of convenience, like with a proposal and a marriage to be and stuff. And then she finds out that his sister is the one that she had the meet cute with early in the book. And so it's about navigating that. And it's like a revisiting. They met during the holidays, and now it's a year later. They've disappeared from each other's lives. and it's the holidays again, and whoops, I'm fake engaged to your brother. And so
Oh.
I don't want to say much more than that. And like, just to be clear, it's a fake engagement on both parts. There's no like no one is fooling the other person. Like, it's very, very consensual. I feel it's important to say. So like, he knows what's up. Like Andrew knows what's going on. And it's like a bunch of lovable characters and a bunch of like really sweet winter scenes, and yeah, and it's sapphic as well. Don't want to give out too much because, you know, romances can be kind of predictable, so I don't want to like just like share the whole thing. But yeah, it's good. I love it. And it's a holiday romance as well, so that's really nice. And Geek Herring did an unofficial one, which Amanda mentioned in our call out as well. Mangoes and Mistletoe, but there's Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellafure, and like, they are also like, it's another meet cute, I don't want to say stereotypical romance, but stereotypical romance. I do want to talk about romance tropes a little bit later, so I'm going to maybe go light on talking about this book because I want to talk about romance tropes when we talk about The Holiday Sitter.
Can you tell who the reader is in this relationship?
Well, and also I love romance, right? Like, romance, I love fantasy, I love science fiction, but during the pandemic, I really found that like dystopian, I had been reading, like, I couldn't read dystopian as much anymore. It felt a little too real.
Too close to
And
home.
romance feels like the PG version of what I write for a living. And I also just love. And I love finding romance where it's just interesting and different, right? Where it's...
Sorry.
What?
I've just realised I started that book that chat are talking about. We started that book.
We
together,
did indeed, yes.
And I was enjoying it, but I can't remember what happened. It got lost.
Yeah, so but Geek Herring did do it unofficially, as yeah, and like Liz has read some of it. But I will say that I think like Amanda and I really like it on some level. I think it's unremarkable to Monty and unremarkable to you, in that it's just kind of like a whatever romance or whatever. But like, it's another good one, and there's actually a series. So I really don't want to say too much because there's like more books after that.
I liked it. I just forgot about it.
But I'll toss. Okay, so I'm gonna toss the links to those in the chat as well, and we'll put them in.
We should have made a playlist.
The Discord and stuff.
What's a playlist for books called? A book list.
A book list?
Next year.
So this one is Written in the Stars, and again, it's part of a series now. There's 2 more that are out. The second one came out last year, and the third one came out this year. And then the book I was talking about, which is Kiss Her Once for Me.
Yeah, TBR. TBR? To be read,
yes, yeah. To be read, yep. Oh, nope, that's the same. Sometimes my copying skills are not great. I think it's my keyboard, at least that's what I'll say. Why won't it do it for me?
Delilah.
Oh, I know why.
Because you're not hitting the right buttons?
No, because I pasted that into the bar and then was trying to copy
the same link.
The same link. So I'd pasted Written in the Stars in the address for Kiss Her Once for Me.
And then you were copying
it. So those are a few sapphic books that I really suggest if you're looking for cozy vibes, basically. Like, these are queer joy, feel good about yourself, feel good about queer relationship joy. There are lots of things that feature queer pain during the holidays. We chose not to talk about those things today because we're trying to focus on some of the more positive stuff because the holidays can be tough for people. But if you want to talk about things featuring like queer pain during the holidays, we can have those conversations, just maybe not right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do it offline.
Yeah, that's That's what the Tumblr's for. That's what the Discord channel's for.
Yep. So we're already an hour in. Do we want to talk about the new Hallmark film?
Yes. So we watched The Holiday Sitter today, which is the Hallmark. So the Hallmark channel's first holiday film with. Huh?
I'm just saying same sex.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was getting there. First Hallmark film with a same-sex couple as the leads. Yeah, it was good. I'm probably not the best person to commentate on rom-coms. I sat through it, and first of all, like, through the most of it was just like, yeah, this is fine. And then at the end I was like, oh, I'm invested. I enjoyed it. I could potentially shed a tear right now. Yeah, I liked it. Jem loved it from start to finish, I think.
Yeah, so I think like this is where it's good to talk about romance tropes. And I think that people who aren't into romance are critical of something about romance without recognizing that it's a feature, not a bug. So romance has tropes, and I can list these out for you. Enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, situational romance, second chance romance. These are like terms we use in the romance fan community to talk about the books. So, like, yes, it's another second chance romance. It's not that that's been done before and it's bad. It's been done before and it's what we look for. It's the same thing as someone saying, like, I really like dystopian science fiction. And someone saying, like, ugh, another science fiction book about the world ending. Why?
That's the genre.
That's the thing we actually like. Like, we're actually looking for that. We're actually looking for certain tropes that continue on, or are it's not the same story over again. It's that's the genre. And so I think it's really important to give that validity, to say that, like, someone liking second chance romance, which is, you know, you got together, it got fucked up somehow, you're getting a second chance through some kind of like little twist of fate, figure it out kind of stuff, is the same thing as saying, like, I really like generational spaceships in my stories. And I also just want to, like, get on my high horse for a minute and remind everyone that romance is the leading selling genre and publishing genre in the book world. So I don't care that your book is a New York Times bestseller and therefore it's somehow better. The romance genre sells more books than almost every other genre combined every year. Full stop.
Damn.
The average romance writer is making twice what the average science fiction writer is making. Full stop. So, like, it's okay to not like romance. It's okay that that's not your thing. But if you want to shit on it, just remember that what you're shitting on is way more successful than you are. That's all.
Well then.
Like, and it's okay not to like it.
Tell us how you really feel.
But to call it stupid or to act like it's worthless is, like, just not paying attention.
Yeah, that ain't
to
it.
Like, to how things work, right? Like, romance conventions are, like, wild, right? Like, wild. So yeah, so it's like everyone, like, again, you don't have to like it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, don't act like you're superior to it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Jinx, and I feel it too, because at one point I also was like, oh, romance. and it's, again, I'm not saying you gotta like it. I'm just saying, like, don't pretend you're better than it.
Yeah.
It's okay for it not to be your thing. So anyway, that's my, like, my, as a, like, erotica writer, romance adjacent person, like, it's valid. These art forms are valid. Doesn't mean it's for you. Cool, but it's valid. So like it so back to the Holiday Sitter. It's a Hallmark movie.
Gemma's TED Talk.
Yeah, like
yeah.
yes, Monty. Like don't act like it's an inferior form of entertainment.
I think people think it's like dumbed down, right?
Yeah.
That there's no
I remember
real, like,
the first time
plot.
Like, I think, like, I remember the first time that I, like, tried to write proper romance, and I was like, wait, what's the thing? What's the thing? Because I kept waiting for, like, and I needed to figure out, like, writing a story where the relationship is the centerpiece is a different type of, it's like, that's the focus of the story, right? And so writing a good story that includes that is, like, a valid art form. And that's not to say that, like, you can't also just, like, enjoy, like call Harlequin romance, like, junk food in a way. Awesome. They kind of are. I mean, I think some of them are written by AI at this point. Like, to be real, like, to be honest, like, I think some of them are written by AI. But it's like, you don't need to yuck someone else's yum, is what I'm saying, right? And, like, they're valid. So anyway, The Holiday Sitter is a Hallmark movie. So if you are looking for a movie that's not a Hallmark movie, this isn't.
Don't watch a Hallmark movie.
Yeah. So, like, it is, like, the premise is guy goes back to not necessarily hometown, but town of his sister who he hasn't been to in a while, and is a bit fish out of water, and is confronted with lots of things that make him feel very conflicted and cozy. Yes, Jinx, we say that on the east coast of Canada too. Don't piss in my cornflakes.
Don't piss on your bonfire. That's what we say over here.
I think I like the cornflakes better.
You're wrong. That's okay.
I give you permission to be wrong. I'm allowing you to be wrong. But so, like, here's the thing, like, expectation management.
With piss in the money.
Oh god, expectation management, there's piss. Expectation management is, like, it's a Hallmark movie. So, like, don't go into it looking for, like, a drama, for, like it is a Hallmark Christmas movie. It is people wearing lots of red and green. It is Christmas trees. It is moments where you see couples or people in the reflection of Christmas ornaments. Like, that is where we are with this. I'm trying so hard to ignore chat where they're talking about, like, cornflakes with less piss, because I just want to make a joke about why cornflakes are yellow, and this is not the moment. See. Yes, Amanda, and that's it, right? Like, so the caveat is, this is not going to be, like, the new queer, like blockbuster. It's a Hallmark movie. But let's talk about some things that are great about it. It's co-written by gay, so it's a gay, like, male story, and they both at different points in the movie use the word gay to refer to themselves or each other. So I'm going to, like, use that as opposed to queer, because gay seems to be what everyone's comfortable using. And, like, it is two gay men. This is like a same-sex couple that's two gay men. And it is co-written by, it stars Jonathan Bennett of, like, Mean Girls
fame.
And he's gay.
Tell him I love him with his hair pushed back.
And then George Crissa is the, like other leading man. And he's gay as well. He's gay. He refers to himself as gay as the character, but the actor is also gay. So we've got gay actors in gay roles in a gay movie. wonderful.
Awesome. Yep.
It is a really like normalized, I think, representation of gayness. And by what I mean by that is there is a few people happening in this film where like later on there's some talk about the struggles they've had wanting what they want within the communities that they're in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no one way to be gay in this. I think that it presents two people who have two different priorities, and neither are seen as invalid.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I really appreciate that. I think that it also shows healthy family relationships at Christmas. It's called the Holiday Sitter, Debs. And it just came out like a day or two ago.
It came out yesterday. Literally yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. So it came out yesterday. We watched it today. I was like, let's do it. And it's pretty short. It's like we watched it on demand, so it had like a few commercials, and it was like an hour and a half long with the commercials. So it's pretty, like it's built for TV. It has really good family representation. So like Sam, Sam's the main character played by Jonathan Bennett. Jason is the like co-lead,
mm-hmm.
who is played by George Crissa. And they have very different family representations. So early on in the movie, this isn't spoiling anything. What?
No, carry on.
Okay.
I'll wait until you finish what you're saying.
Yeah. So like Sam has a longer distance relationship with his family, doesn't see his sister that often. His sister is married with children. Clearly doesn't see mom and dad that often. Mom and dad are away for the holidays. They are clearly divorced and spending time. Mom's in Italy.
Sorry.
Dad's on a fishing trip. Pardon?
An alert went off. Sorry, everyone.
Okay.
Time to plug back in.
And so it's like a comfortable family relationship that isn't super close, is what I would say. Like, isn't close in a, like, we do everything together. Jason has a big old family that does everything together, and he lives next door to his parents after getting down payment money from a great aunt who passed away, like down payment to buy a house money, on Anne Marie, something like that. So like it's two very different ways, but it's like there is no, we didn't like our son because he was gay. We didn't like our sibling because he was gay.
Right, that's what you meant by similar. That's what made me go, because I was like, the family dynamics felt very different, but that's what you meant, as in neither of them were black sheeps of the family. Like, they weren't outcast because of their sexuality. Okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely a sense that both of them have been out for a while, and like their gayness has never been an issue. And at one point, like, it's so explicit as to say, like, you know, like one of them brought a partner home who was a boyfriend, and like he was welcomed and loved, and like it was all great. And he brought a partner home just like siblings brought a partner home. At one point, the other one mentions, like, you know, there's a part later on in the film we're gonna have to spoiler alert it a little bit because I want to talk about something that's a little bit of spoiler. But like it's very clear when they say like mom and dad, it never mattered to mom and dad. Mm-hmm. It never bothered mom and dad. Like it is expressly said and agreed to by the gay character. So like I think it's important to note that like in that way, really good family representation where the families look very different and it's both still healthy.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Any thoughts from you there?
No.
Can I talk about some criticisms?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk about some more things I love. So criticism. It's super fucking white. I don't know if there's a single fucking person of color in this film.
I think... Oh, again, this is what I'm struggling with, like, not saying too much. I think not even a supporting character. Like, I thought, but now I'm questioning myself, that one of the leads had a connection to someone of colour. I don't know if you're going to know.
Are we
what
talking
I'm
about
talking
Jason?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, maybe we just like, we're not going to talk about the whole plot, but like maybe just some spoiler alerts here that we might talk about some things that are spoilers. Can you clarify, Liz?
So I believe that Jason's high school ex, either the high school ex or the boyfriend of the high school ex, I didn't quite work out which one was which, was a man of colour.
Who is completely off screen?
No.
No?
No. They bump into each other at, like, the fair.
Oh, right. There was that, like, 20-second moment.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm not sure that...
Like, I'm not saying it was groundbreaking. I'm just saying it happened.
Yep, fair. Yes. So, okay. I just didn't
However,
understand.
I didn't see anyone else.
I just didn't understand how we had like a whole friggin' like children's Christmas play as part of it, and none of the kids in the play were black or Asian or like not white. No. Like, how do we have a whole village celebrating Christmas and none of them are not white?
Yeah.
I can understand mono-ethnic families.
Yeah,
that I understand biology is often a part of family.
It was interesting because, like, I mean, yes, it was bumfuck nowhere Billy Town. I think that was kind of the point, but also one of the main characters was from. Was he from? Where was Sam from? Like, Sam
from
lived somewhere like businessy, like hotshot. I don't know if it was LA. Because no, Jason used to live in LA.
Used to live in LA. I thought Sam lived in New York. Because they were going north.
So, but basically, point is, like, I'm agreeing with you. Like, where was everyone else? And also, like, for this groundbreaking queer Christmas film, like, main characters are queer. One of the main characters has a best friend who is also queer. Like, where was the rest of the diversity?
Yeah, so like I definitely still really felt that, right? Like I still like watched this and I was like, and maybe minor spoiler alert, but you learn it in the first 5 minutes of the film, is that like Sam's sister and her husband are building a family through adoption. And I have some criticisms and some joy about this. One, amazing to see that representation, and it is like there. All 3 of their children are adopted, and that's beautiful because it's also nice to see a queer film where a hetero couple is also building a family through not just the way that we're supposed to build families.
Yeah.
However, slight, like, maybe spoiler-ish, is that, like, a key part of the film, this is not the spoiler, a key part of the film is that mom and dad, the sister and her husband, are off to go get new baby, because new baby is being born and new baby is coming early, by a couple weeks, not super early, by a couple weeks. So off to get the baby, birth mom's gone into labor. Great. You don't see birth mom at all. There is like no representation of the birth mom anywhere. I get that this is a Hallmark movie and it's not her story, but sometimes I just long for slightly more inclusive, slightly like more normalized, like adoption can be traumatic for folks and can be hard. And I think that there's more of a move in our society towards slightly more open adoptions and all sorts of things. This isn't a show about that. I just thought, like, I know this isn't a story about her, but like when they're like all cozy as a family together, like maybe birth mom could be there
Yeah,
a little bit.
maybe even like, you know, thank you gift, Christmas gift to birth mother. Like, considering it's a Christmas film, it was all, yeah.
Yeah, so she's like completely off the screen. And I do think that because they are building their family through adoption, there is some openness there to like, because families built somewhere outside of biology, to have maybe a bit more cultural ethnic diversity. It is not. It is two white people adopting white babies.
Yeah.
Which is okay. Like, those stories do exist. I'm just saying, like, there was even an opening there for some diversity, and there was none. But I did really love seeing the adoption rep. I did really like the fact that it's like a hetero couple building their family through adoption, because I think that representation is like important too. And I think that it was largely done well. Yeah, so like so the talk, okay, so let me read what Amanda said. As someone who is adopted by closed adoption, the talk about open adoption actually makes me quite uncomfortable, and like it should be seen that way. Amanda, can you like clarify the like, if you're open to, can you clarify about the like should be seen that way piece, just because I'm curious and like want to make sure you have space in this conversation too, because I'm someone who's on like the other side of adoption stories where like I am considering that. Like I feel like you are saying that the rep that should be seen in the movie is about an open adoption. Okay, so I totally hear that, and I do think, yeah, no, and I don't think it's the only rep out there, or that it should be the only rep out there. And closed adoption rep is totally valid. I think that it was like I struggle with I'm trying to like say this in ways that are like mean, where I say what I mean, which is that I think that there is a lot of, or like the traditional representation of adoption is very, very similar to what is presented. And I think it is valid to have like closed adoption rep as well. But I think that because the way they were talking, from my perspective, about it all, I just felt like it was, maybe it's because it's not their story, but I did like feel very much that like my experience currently as someone who like looks into adoption is that more openness is seen as, I don't want to say better, is seen as a way that like is more nuanced around the complexities of it all. But again, it's a Hallmark movie, and I'm not sure that we're going to get the complexities of adoption in a Hallmark movie that's actually about a same-sex couple. And that's so, okay, hold on, let me read. I'm trying to read while also like being careful. So yep. Okay. Monty says, would enclosed adoption even be a moment of, oh, the baby is coming early, let's come get it, or something? That would suggest to me there is more information than there would be in a closed adoption, but I have no clue. I also like don't know the American system as well, and this is clearly happening in the US, so that's like part of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I entirely know the difference between a closed and an open adoption, which is why I'm reading the comments, and I'm taking a moment to listen and read, because I don't know the difference.
So, I mean, it's a spectrum, right? So it's like a spectrum between like very like, so I mean, even the terminology is challenging, but like closed is, there is like at the far end of closed is there's like no knowledge of birth mom or other family, and there is no connection there between adoptive family and like birth family. So
I
that's
see.
like the
Okay.
extreme of closed. And then like the extreme, I say extreme, I don't mean extreme, like the ends of the
The spectrum,
spectrum.
yeah.
For open is like birth family and adoptive family go on vacations together, and
Right.
like
Okay.
and there's like a huge spectrum in between that like really vary, and also vary according to like how the adoption took place,
Mm-hmm.
because it depends on like the age of the child and like the situation and stuff like that. Like it's so nuanced.
Mm.
And I also really feel like I don't want to like, because it's so nuanced and it's so personal to people, like I don't want to like at all say anything that is insensitive towards like different forms of adoption, because I think that like building a family is complex,
Mm-hmm.
and all my hope is that all of these babies are loved, and I believe in most of these cases they are, right? And that it is complex, and that oftentimes it becomes like a very politicized thing when it's a very, very like personal thing.
Mm.
Um, so
Yeah.
Jen is in chat too, saying that sharing that she was adopted by a closed adoption as well. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Amanda, as well. I know you've chatted a little bit about it before. Um, I was taught with an analogy of doors. My door to see my family is closed, and their door to see me is closed.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's a um,
So for me, and this could be because again, I am not the rom com lover in the relationship. I don't know the tropes. This is my first time watching a Hallmark movie. I know that they are known to be very, very cheesy and very, very fucking spunking Christmas in your face, right? So that's why it was weird for me that there wasn't kind of like this, when we're talking about the adoption, that there wasn't this like, here's a cute Christmas moment. That's what struck me as a bit weird, because the rest of it was all just like Christmas, Christmas. There's a fair, there's a nativity play, there's a this, there's a that, da 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 da. So yeah, just to clarify what I meant. But yeah, thank you for sharing in chat, because I don't know anything about it at all.
yeah, and
So thank you.
I think that it is really complex, and by no means do I think one is like, I think it's so situational that there's also lots of instances where like there's a lot of like there's just so many factors that play around health and safety and consent and all sorts of stuff. Like it is complex. And so I think I am struggling a bit because I want to like honor that, and also say like I noted that it was like not something happening on screen in any way, but also that again, it's a Hallmark movie, and if I want, you know, a complex examination of the complexities of adoption, it's probably not going to be in a Hallmark Christmas movie that's about a gay couple outside of that like not outside that situation, but like they aren't the ones adopting.
Yeah.
And so I'm reminding myself that. And for me, I actually like teared up a lot when I saw that like from the very first bit it was like an adoption story, because I think that like, especially like an adoption story at Christmas, because I think that there's like so much romanticized about like one form of making a family at Christmas, that it was really lovely to see another form of making a family at Christmas.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and generally speaking, but like in a Christmas representation, where I think in some ways the West fetishizes um, the birth of Jesus. To be really honest, like Christmas becomes a birth story, and it's more than that. And so I think like it was really nice to see that, and like it was really like the whole thing starts with like the baby is coming, and it's like almost this like beautiful like tongue-in-cheek take on the baby is coming, because it is the wife running down the stairs saying like um like, the baby's coming. And he's like, but I thought the baby was supposed to be here for New Year's. And she's like, early, it's a Christmas baby. And then they're like going off to get their baby. And so it's like this really cute take of like, the baby's coming early, and she's telling her husband, and they're off to like have a baby,
Yeah.
except it's a different type of story. And that was really lovely. And like, I would like to talk about the and also I just want to say, like, I recognize that like we touched on something that was like more intense than intended, and that was through my own naivete. And I just want to like be really open about that and say that I was not adequately prepared for this discussion, and probably should not have opened it in such a way. And I deeply believe that these stories are really complex, and that there's no one right way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to like be really clear that I'm sorry for not preparing a conversation as well, and for like launching into it less prepared than I should be. And yes, thank you to Amanda and Jen for sharing, because I know that it is like these stories are personal with real people, and representation is really important.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Are you feeling okay to talk a little bit about some of the reveals that happen like near the end of the film? And I'm going to put my hand up as like we're talking about spoilers, and then I'll put it down when we're done. Are you okay if we go there, or do you have something you want to say? It's up to you.
What do you mean some of the reveals?
I cannot say that unless we're like, I can't be like, oh yeah, I'm going to reveal this spoiler, and like say that without it being spoilerized. Like, do you know what I mean?
But we'll just say that we're about to share spoilers.
Okay, but what I'm asking is, are you cool to do that now, or is there something else you want to...
Oh, I see. I thought you meant, like, literally, do you want to? And I was like...
No. I mean, do you want to do something before we go there? Because I'm going to like,
well, I mean,
try to contain it.
Did you want to show the trailer, or do you want to do that afterwards?
Maybe the trailer now would be a good thing.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if I've got my...
I think the trailer's only like a minute and a half long, maybe. Or like the sneak peek preview. I'm not sure what they call it with the Hallmark channel. I'm not sure it's exactly trailers.
See if I've got my button set up. Oh, you were frozen then because I opened the window that had the trailer in. Anyway, I'm gonna switch over. I'm gonna switch scenes. Mm-hmm. Let's see if this works. Oh. Okay. Haha. Right. So, give us a wave, Jem. Oh no, you're gonna be frozen. Hang on a minute. Let me move things around a little bit. Let me just...
I'm okay with being frozen.
No, we can see you again now. Let me just move things around because it's a bit odd.
While you're doing that, I just want to say that like there was also a commercial, because we were watching it on demand, and it's like a made-for-TV movie. There's like natural like commercial spots that like part of the commercials were like, "Yay, Hallmark Christmas movies," and scenes from this one featured in all of the like, "Yay, Hallmark Christmas movies."
Yeah, that was like, it was a bit odd.
It was a bit odd because of what we were watching at the time, but it was also amazing because it was not like, here's our niche Christmas film that's completely outside of our lineup. Yeah, it is weird. But it was like very much like,
yes,
it's not like, here's the
it was nice that it was normal.
It.
It was put with the rest of the Christmas stuff,
it
even
was
though it was the queer one.
Yeah, it was clearly part of the like 2022 Hallmark holiday movies, like all like as represented as anything else, and not just like, here's the gay one, shh, we're gonna pretend we didn't make it.
Yeah. Okay, are we ready? Mm-hmm. Let's turn it up a little bit. Oh, maybe not that much.
Oh, yeah. You are a reindeer ring toss ringer.
What does a ringer mean?
It means you get another stuffed reindeer.
Your turn, Uncle Sam.
Oh, no, this isn't for me.
You don't know until you try.
Some things you just know.
Mom's good at this game.
Nice psychological trick there, kid. I see what you did.
I don't know what that means.
It means you have tapped into my sibling rivalry side. Let's do this. All right, here we go. Just a little rusty. It's the wind. Yep, wind's blowing that way, so you got a trajectory, you know? You'll learn it later. Okay, here we go. So.
The Holiday Sitter on Hallmark.
Was that it?
I muted. They didn't do, I didn't see anyway, like any like super expansive trailers. Because I guess it's like, I don't know.
That was a real sneak peek.
Yeah. There might be better ones, to be honest, but like I found what I could. But it's like, so it is like cheesy. It's really cheesy. Like that, like, I think that's a good example of the like banter style, the like little quip, like, you know, some things, you know, without trying or whatever. And it is like, it's very much like, if you don't like kids in movies, this is not the movie for you, because the whole trope is that like he's babysitting, whatever, like the holiday sitter. He's babysitting his niece and nephew while family go off to get new baby, like while mom and dad go off to get new baby. So like, that's what it is.
It's very cheesy. And again, maybe spoiler alert. Obviously that's Jonathan Bennett from Mean Girls. He quotes a Mean Girl line. I didn't like it.
I love it. So, anyway, so that's sort of, I do want to, like, can we talk a little bit about the part that, like, is a spoiler, but is my favorite part, the best moment to me?
Yeah. So, spoiler alert.
So I'm going to put my hand up so you can, like, not, and we'll put in chat too when we're done talking, because this is, like, proper spoilers for the end of the movie.
Woo!
So if you really don't want to be spoiled, this is when my hand goes down.
Spoiler alert.
We are done talking spoilers. So honestly though, Amanda, right? Like I get that a little bit, but like this is like the emotional like punch that I think is, so I feel a little bit like I have to spoiler it, but I feel you. So do you wanna talk or me here?
Wait.
Like,
I'm intrigued as to which bit you're about to talk about. So
there's 2 points where I think the film is both really metatextual and actually says really meaningful things about queerness. One is when Jason, who is, so the one we saw in the little sneak peek is Sam. So that's not the one I'm talking about. The one where Jason says like having a family is like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's basically like having a family has always been really important to me. And then I say that, I'm clear about that. And then I get with a guy and he says, oh, you were serious.
Oh, you're serious about the starting a family thing. Yeah.
And then it's over. And so
ghosted.
And so he's like, I'm just trying to figure that out. Like, I don't know how to be more honest about it because it's real and no one ever believes it. And I just want a family. And there's another moment where Sam is having this really beautiful, I'm going to cry, where Sam's having this really beautiful conversation with his sister and saying like, my whole life being gay, I've been told no. So like I didn't allow myself to like through, and he actually mentions legally, right? Which I think is not just a mention of like queer marriage, but like of like same-sex marriage, but also about like especially in the US, there's so much politicization of gay people adopting and stuff like that. So like I think it's also talking about, well, and not just adopting, but fostering, but like gay people and children, right? Like there's so much fucking bullshit there. And so he says like the laws have said no. People have said no. And so I never allowed myself to dream about it because
to want those things, yeah.
To want those things. And his sister says like, and now you're feeling yes, and he's like, for the first time in my life I'm feeling a maybe. And it's just this really honest moment of like what it feels like to live in a world where legally you're not allowed things, and so hope is dangerous because hope can hurt you. And it's not just a story about like how do we convince a guy he wants a family, because that's not what it is. It's like, how do we allow people to make those free choices? Because when we talk about same-sex marriage, when we talk about queer families, when we talk about even adoption, right? Like there's so much, again, I don't want to get too much into this, but there's so much like shit there around like who's allowed to have a kid, when in reality, like loving parents are what kids need, right? Like loving parents. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't say that's it. Like there's obviously like financial stuff, but like in terms of like who, loving parents. There's so much of that there that like it's not about whether you want it or not, it's that you get to make the choice for you out of the choices.
Yeah it was. And I think weirdly that was the part that read as queerest to me. Like, yeah, cool. Oh look, there's a couple of men holding hands. Oh look, there's a woman who has just told her best friend that her girlfriend proposed. Like, cool. Like, you know, that's, I don't want to say that's nothing. Obviously it's nice to have that be in media, but it's not anything, for me, it's not groundbreaking. Like, I see those things. That was the piece. And I think a lot of it is because I'm so newly out and I've never been in a same-sex relationship before. It was kind of like, fuck. Like, I've never had to consider those things before. And hearing it is one thing, but hearing it in mainstream media was another. And like, you know, maybe if I had seen films and TV shows that discussed those things previously, like imagine all the people that have never thought about needing to consider those things. Like, it's just so important. Representation is so important.
But I do want to like push a little bit to say that like I actually think, and like Moni's hitting on it too, is that like I actually think that part of what I loved about this is that part about this film is that it followed the same. It did follow. It
The
was
same
just
tropes.
a Hallmark movie.
Yeah. It was
Why
just
don't
normal.
why don't we, like, that's it, right? Like, so much of like, and you know, Amanda's agreeing, like so much there is like, I actually loved that was so normalized, but I also like, there again, this is part of why my hand slept, is like there's another spoiler coming up, is that the two of them talk about, like the leads talk about how like they've been in this little like make-believe bubble for a few days preparing for Christmas, taking care of these kids, and how much they liked being in the bubble. And it was just this really metatextual moment of like how much I liked being in the bubble of this film, how much I liked experiencing this film in this bubble where it is just this like, we recognize that it's kind of fake, that Hallmark movies are kind of fake, and the way this is presented is kind of fake, and that's okay. And it made us happy to be in this bubble. It made us happy to be in this bubble with these two gay characters where it's so friggin' normal, where their families weren't upset with them.
Yeah, it was so normal. Like, you know, the families, like, go and get your man. Like, they were talking to a heterosexual female lead. Go and get the guy. Like, go. Like, it was normal, and it was lovely, and it was a piece of queer video media that didn't revolve around, you know, someone gay dying. Like,
being gay was never a problem.
it was nice.
Being gay wasn't a problem. Like, when they, early on in the film, they hesitate about asking Uncle Sam to babysit, and it has 0% to do with, like, the gayness, and everything to do with the fact that he can't cook and seems relatively incompetent with children. Loving, but incompetent. And, like, it's so much just, like there wasn't tragedy. And while they did talk, there was that, like, moment of, like, being honest about the struggles of being queer and wanting these things, for the most part, it was just exactly like Amanda says, like, so nice to have the romance tropes we love, but make them gay. That's what this movie is, Amanda. Like, honestly, it's like, and like there's even a moment where, like, oh, are they gonna kiss? And, like, interrupted by something, like, oh nope, like it's like it's all those moments, and it's gay men who say that they're gay, and their families acknowledge them as gay, and it's all normal.
Yeah, there was no, is he, you know, it was obvious, it was that they self-identified and everyone knew about it.
Yeah, and it wasn't, like, ever a problem. Like, they talked a little bit about, like, the pains of gay dating or whatever, but, like, no one's dying, but it's
also, like, the pains of dating. Like, they were talking about being ghosted, and, like, you know, the opening scene is a date that is clearly going south, and, like, yeah.
Yep. So anyway, I just, like, those were a few moments, like, especially when they're like, oh, but we've been in this fake little bubble, but I loved it. And they, like, acknowledge that basically everything that's happened in this movie has been within this really super contrived bubble. And they're acknowledging it and saying, but didn't it make you happy?
Yeah.
Fuck. It was good. And that's a moment, like, I really loved, because it was, like, this acknowledgement that it's all the tropes and all the things. But also, like, it's okay if that made you happy. Yeah. So I'm going to put my hand down, I think, and we're going to be done talking spoilers.
Let me pop it in chat. Okay.
And, like, just, like, a couple warnings. Like, there is one, like, fat adjacent joke that wasn't great. There was one, like, joke that was very much like, haha, maybe you have an illness or a disability or something, that was, like, a bit off the cuff kind of statement that wasn't great. Because he's clumsy, and the guy is like, and this is not a spoiler, and he's like, oh, I thought you might have an inner ear issue or whatever, because he's, like, clumsy around this guy because he likes him. And so, like, there's, like, you know, stuff like that. It's not perfect. You don't watch it if you don't want a Hallmark movie, is, like, really what I want to say. Like, if Hallmark movies are your thing, or if this style of romance is your thing, great. If you're looking for sappy gay love that's also cheesy and, like, that cheesy sense of humor, it's for you. If you don't like kids, this is not the one for you, because the kids feature it's called The Holiday Sitter because they're babysitting. Like, the kids feature pretty prominently. It's all white, but that is, I would say that that's a problem, but, like, it's one of the pieces of it.
But yeah, it was all right.
I really liked it because I love romance, and it was cheesy, and it was, like, Christmas. Yeah, I just thought it was, like, all, like Amanda said, with, like, the tropes that make them gay. I literally messaged, because I try not to talk throughout our entire film. I messaged Liz throughout to say, this has all the tropes and I love it.
It's true. I can show you the screenshot.
It's exactly what I said. So, like, if you're into that romance, oh my goodness. So, yeah.
What would you give it out of 10?
As a film, like as like just a generic film, I'd give it like 6.5 or 7 out of 10.
Okay.
As a Hallmark Christmas movie, I'd give it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
Up there.
The only thing that would make it more Hallmark than it is the fact that like the guy who comes back to the community, like Sam, he's like some kind of business investor, and what he needed to be was a big time lawyer to make it like the ultimate Hallmark movie, is that he needed to be a lawyer. But like he is like an investment advisor or something like that. So like that is, yeah, exactly, Amanda. Like it needs its own scale. So like as a film, it's a 6.5. It's good. As a Hallmark movie, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
The Holiday Sitter. The Holiday Sitter.
Tip, tap, 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 tap.
Yeah. So, and like, I also just liked that it had healthy relationships with family in it. Like that is banging, and like in 2 different ways.
Yeah.
And it knows its role, right? Like it is very decidedly a Hallmark movie. Like that's what it wants to be. I appreciate that. It's not pretending to be cinema. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else to add?
Just a remark that our next scheduled date is December 26th, which is Boxing Day, which will not be a We Have a Query episode, at least not in our current format, because Liz will be visiting family.
I will be picking my battles.
Yes, picking battles at family. But I might do a solo stream if we can get it sorted.
I'm sure we can get you set up.
So I might do a solo stream, and do something that just like I'm interested in, that Liz is less interested in, that I can like wax poetic about.
Well, I mean, you wax poetic about everything, but
no,
I'm looking forward to tuning in if it does go ahead.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm not sure what I do it on, but we were just talking today about the fact that like 2 weeks from now is Boxing Day, but I might do. And then I was like, or I could go solo. So we only like first talked about it today. So like,
literally,
there's literally no plans.
2.5 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but I think like maybe I could do it.
I think you could. I think you're more than capable. I think it might be time, babe. Okay.
Yeah, fair, Amanda. We might be taking a break. I don't know. I just feel like this is a chance maybe to like.
Basically, she wants a test run for to stream solo, right?
No, this would be like, because there'd be no expectation that I ever do it again. It's like a one and done, right? And Debs, don't even talk to me about how Boxing Day is 2 weeks from today. You know what this means, right? Like 3 weeks from today is 2023.
Right, I'm ending stream.
Look, I love how fuck off. Yes, I know. But 3 weeks from today is 2023.
Okay, bye. See ya. See you later.
Don't do that. But yeah, so like the next episode that we do together is going to be on January 9th, and it's going to be our coming out episode where we talk about coming out and that sort of stuff. So we'll get year. I just need to stop talking because I'm not going to have any friends anymore. Or a girlfriend at this rate. Yeah, so I think that I think we're there.
Sorry, that was very rude of me. I'm not feeling 100% tonight. I'm very, very tired. I've been yawning throughout. Okay. I'm sorry.
Also, just a reminder to everyone, it is Liz's birthday. And I just want to say, like,
bye! See ya! We're going. Time to end the stream.
I'm so
Slash
grateful
raid.
that she's in my life.
Da-da-da-da.
And that she is this like shining example of queer joy for me, and that she continues to be like
Oh, Lizzie-less. I like that.
a really vital part of my life, not just as like a romantic partner or like fairy goddaughter / sexual partner,
Fuck off!
but as like someone that I consider a partner in progress, and
Happy
someone who
birthday.
I consider like someone who helps give me the strength to keep doing shit, and like always lets me know that it's okay to fuck up and keep trying, to like keep dreaming, to keep finding your place in the world. We're never too old to sort shit out and to learn things. And like, I'm just really excited to be on this journey of life with you, and happy birthday. And I hope that, like, I can't wait to give you your birthday kiss in February.
Thank you.
Yeah. And your gift should get there soon. And Liz got a cake today.
I did. Should I show it?
If you want to.
If you want to. I don't know how to show it. Maybe I'll just swap to one of my regular scenes. Hang on. We're gonna cheat the system, gang. We're gonna cheat the system.
It is safe for TOS, but it's very pink.
Excuse me. It's a terrible photo because there's terrible lighting in my apartment. But let me. Oh.
Whoop.
Hopefully this works. Here we go. Sorry, Jem, we can't see you for the moment.
That's okay.
It's Percy Pig!
Those are Percy pigs.
And Percy Pigtails, fizzy tails.
Mm-hmm. So, Liz's favorite cake is Victoria Sponge. And so it's a Victoria Sponge, and I was like, and she really wants Percy Pig.
It's a Victoria Sponge covered in buttercream. Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jem.
It's a meat pie.
it's a pork cake.
So Liz got cake delivery today. She was going to get flour delivery, but we decided not to because there's been concerns with the temperature and maybe some flies and stuff, so we didn't do that.
That makes me sound really grotty. It's just the terrible flat.
Yeah, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, we're trying to like manage things in a situation where there's some dampness in the flat.
Percy Pigs are a fruit. Oh my god, Jen. That needs to be cross-stitched. Oh my god, I could just see it now. There's just like a wilted rose. And then the text. Percy Pigs are fruit-flavoured sweets. I don't know what fruit.
Yeah,
generic fruit gummies.
They're kind of like similar to like a gummy bear. They're like a bit different texture, but like it's similar to like a fruit flavored, like strawberry fruit flavored gummy bear. I don't know where my co-host just went. She presses all the buttons, so you're just like stuck with me right now. Yes, they're more chewy and like denser, I guess, but like it's like a cross between a Starburst and a gummy bear.
She gave me the spares.
And a bit furry.
Furry?
You should not have eaten a furry. If your Percy Pig was furry, you should not have.
See a doctor if your Percy Pig's furry. So they're kind of like bouncy. And then I also got fizzy pigtails too.
And so like, Debs, if you're familiar with like, I don't know if you get the like, here they're often sharks and stuff, but they're like the opaque white and a color gummy. Here they're like sharks and whales and stuff, but like, and I don't know why. I don't even
Love
know
hearts here.
But it's like
the pigtails are sour, yeah.
What do you mean it's not like a gummy bear, Monty?
No, they're not really like gummy bears. They're kind of like, do you know the Haribo
That's fair.
hearts? They're similar to the foam side of that. But they're tastier. They're a better texture.
I think like my problem with describing other sweets is that I only know like name brand stuff. Like I don't know how to explain some.
Ho ho ho.
Like it's hard for me to like put it into context because the best I can do is like, do you know this? It's kind of like that. Yeah. So now that she's stuffed her face full, we'll say our goodbyes.
Oh, John.
Thanks for being here.
They do give me the tippy taps, to be honest.
Percy pigs make this woman so happy. Yeah, I hear you, Amanda. Is like, I'm trying to like, Amanda, do you know the like candies I'm talking about that are like the little, they're like sharks here or whatever, and they're like a more translucent gummy on one side, and like
yes,
yeah,
that's what I'm
exactly.
describing. That's what the Haribo hearts are like.
Okay.
They're pink. They're pink.
Have those here,
gummy.
that I know of.
Yeah, but you've been here. Not. Do you know what? Hey, Jay. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly, Amanda. No, they're not Swedish fish.
No, do you know what? I would actually say that the texture of yes, Moni, the Haribo hearts with the white bottom, it's similar to the foam on the bottom. I think it's a cross between the bottom of the Haribo heart and maybe a Swedish fish. Maybe a Swedish fish is it. Like they had a baby.
Swedish fish is so wrong. Swedish fish has this like short texture.
Like they had a baby.
I disagree entirely. Swedish fish are like the other end of the gummy spectrum. Like we're talking about like gummier and foamier and more spongy. And over here is Percy pigs. Here is gummy bears, and Swedish fish are down here. Yeah, same, Amanda.
Maybe I haven't had a Swedish fish in a while.
Yes, exactly. Stiff is the word, Debs. They're like it's a different texture in your mouth. Like the tooth.
I don't know. I do feel like if they had a baby with a foam heart, that might be close. Anyway. And I love Swedish
I'm
fish.
so glad that Chad agrees with me because I think Swedish fish are at the
obviously,
opposite end of the spectrum.
Everyone's going to agree with you.
That's not true.
You've got all the charisma and all the fancy words. Like, clearly they're going to take your side.
That's not true. I believe that my friends love me enough to like talk to me about shit when they disagree with me. And that's important to me. I never want to be with a bunch of people who just like say like, yeah, exactly, Monty. And I know that Amanda would, and I know, yeah.
Bubs?
Amanda, I don't know
what are bubs?
Offhand, I don't know what bubs are.
I hate that alarm.
I know you do. It's our 9 o'clock. Get Liz ready for bed. I'm clicking this link to look. I've never seen these. But they do look like they're the texture I'm talking about.
They look like Percy Pig texture. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, Sour Patch Kids. Yes!
Okay, so now that we're just talking about candy, we really should head off. It's been 2 hours. Thank you for being here for this journey that was our first episode. We know it was a bit rambling. We're still trying to like find our like our feet, I guess. I'm trying to find a less ableist analogy. Like we're still trying to find our
rhythm.
place. Yeah.
Trying to find the beat of the drum.
Yes. And we should find someone to raid. Can I? We need to like make a raid call.
Well, you get typing that while I do the raid message. We're gonna go raid Ricolous.
What was our call last week that we decided we could never use again that I thought maybe we'd use? Oh, no,
we're here to whack you off.
Yeah.
Obviously, what else would it be? But thank you all so much for being here, team. It's wonderful. Thank you for all of the birthday wishes too. Much appreciated.
So there's that, and like
hey Lula. Thank you. Because it could be like whack you off, or it could be like whack you off. Do you know what I mean? It could be very sexy or very murder, and that's the kind of mystery I like to maintain. You know. Anyway.
And thanks again to Geek Herring for doing this, for hosting this, for making all of this happen, because it's really been
Time's
amazing
ticking.
to like start
Time's ticking.
this. And yep. All right. I'm good. We love you, Geek Herring.
Bye. Love you. Thanks for the command. Whack. Peace.